found themselves the biggest dog of them all. So if there was anywhere to prove yourself, it's here.
There was that conversation that we actually had in the interview too, where they were talking about, you know, they're looking for a top 4, top 5 kind of situation, but that also was with the disclaimer that that would be if they had their support line. Unfortunately, they don't have that same support line, but Squid has been doing very well so far throughout this tournament, and Squid obviously known for being that ChiYo player. That skill set has proven to be very valuable for the Saints. Now you see them rolling out once again, this time actually matching with King and Tree, bringing out the Sombra and Tracer. They're going to lose Vega early, but definitely something to kind of look out for as they're, I mean, almost mirroring this Rain composition. Obviously, they have that Kiriko still from Squid.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big matchup to play because Tree and King, I mean, solid on these picks as they are. You know, you think of Tree, you think of that Sojourn, but when you think of Lip and Stalker, you think of Sombra and Tracer, man. Like, this is, you're playing up against them on their favorite heroes. This is as tough as it gets.
Oh, looks like Tree is actually getting pincered right now under fire. Stalker chasing him out. Tree is not going to have anything. They're just going to take him out for free.
I mean, he went in that room for a spa and found himself on the wrong end of Beat Stick. I don't know what to tell you, man. It's a rough fight for Saints, who are already down 1 going in. Push back to spawn, but at least it's only 20% on the point.
Gotta give a lot of credit for that play, actually, to ChiYo, who went all the way over towards the spawn and actually pushed the Tree into the fight. So, great job from Rain, and especially that backline. I mean, that's one thing that the Tracer has to do in these compositions, is mark those Tracers, and ChiYo is making an aggressive play to do that time and time again.
Saints finally get to make their way out of spawn, though. Set up a proper dive. The problem here is, I mean, they do not have an ultimate insight on the horizon or anywhere in their near future here. This is going to be a really tough one. And if Rain can get it for cheap here by just dropping the nano boost, it could get even worse. But it looks like they might want to EMP going into this. Yep, Lip immediately pops it, hits all of Saints, and there wasn't even a chance. Nano didn't have to use her anything. This is a rough one here.
I saw King actually kind of working his way around that backside, going all the way up along the back stairs, coming up to the top. I mean, they were scouting. They were looking to try to get some information before they started that fight. Unfortunately, they just didn't see Lip, who was stealthed right by where King actually walked through, but nonetheless, it's 75% here, so things have to turn around quickly for Saints, and they are coming up on some ultimates, so maybe an opportunity here.
Coming up on them is not the same thing as having them.
That's true.
I think Vega's figuring that one out very quick. That 10% difference made all the difference in the world, and oh god, we're committing. Oh god, we're committing here. I mean, they have to. It's final fight. Saints had to go for it, but all of them failing to get ultimates up before the critical moment came to fruition. Atlanta Rain have shown Saints what it truly means to be at the top of the Overwatch League.
Yeah. Saints came into this tournament with some kind of a game on our hands.
Yeah, I think it's interesting the effect that you see of losing CJ has on Saints as well, because they used to have like 2 mega pop-off players. Granted, kind of all-star players amongst Contenders players on this roster, but it was Tree and CJ, and it was like 50-50 for both of them. So you'd usually have somebody popping off, but now Tree's got to find that warm-up earlier. Yesterday, it took him a little bit. Took him a map to get warmed up, but once he was ready to go, boy, was this guy fragging. And hopefully the same thing could be said for today.
Yeah, and I'm actually curious to see Saints actually starting up onto this Winston composition, because one thing that we will note right now is the fact that they do have that Ana. So a little bit of some emphasis here into, first of all, being able to go for those sleep darts and kind of protect the back line a little bit, I mean, really themselves, Squid, actually, to a degree, but also a little bit of potential for enabling as well, right? I mean, mikeyy could have some of those nano boosts thrown into him that could help them combat in a brawl kind of setup, or, you know, if they're going against dives, could really kind of be oppressive in some of these fights, or you could throw it onto Tree or King. We have seen that as a look with the Ana in tow more than a few times back in the qualifiers.
Another interesting look we're getting, though. Hawk on the Diva. We've seen it a lot as a theoretical counter to the Winston. At least amongst Contenders teams, it hasn't really worked out that way, but I trust that Atlanta Rain know what they're doing. A dive in from Saints, though, cut short by a hack. Squid falls, and all of a sudden, all that peel that we had kind of set up to be at Squid's side is just null and void. I mean, they have been stomped in every direction. Rain, hold strong.
Yeah, I think this is why we were so excited about Vigilante and Fielder being in the mix together, right? Is the fact that they can bring together. I mean, you could maybe consider it double flex. BAP is such a hard thing to quantify in that regard, but the fact
it's a lot of damage. That's all that matters, man.
There's so much pressure. There's so much lethality with this composition. Obviously, a lot of people did see, you know, a pretty early look at that Doomfist composition. This is, I think, a progression from that. Very similar in the way that you have that pressure, that heavy damage, a lot of lethality. And that's what they're going to try to leverage in this matchup versus Saints, try to catch Saints off guard.
And it's very easy. You only have to be off guard for, I mean, all of half a second to lose your entire health bar to this team composition. And as Saints set themselves up to go in, they do manage to force back Lip. So Rain really want to play pretty careful entering into this fight. And Saints are the ones not playing careful enough. Squid gets disconnected, doesn't follow mikeyy into the bubble soon enough. And the dive not quite as coordinated as Saints may have wanted. Rain, all they've had to do this match is just hold their space. They've hardly had to make a dive of their own.
Yeah, one thing I'm enjoying watching as well, Rain in the back line, you see Lip just kind of diving in towards Squid, and whoever is kind of left over from when Saints try to press forward, Rain is just gobbling them up basically from every single angle. So watch to see how Lip approaches this, and if King or Tree can actually match that rotation from Lip, and it looks like they do actually push him back this time around.
Yeah, the difficulty is now that you're playing into all 5 ultimates. I mean, this is everything, a smorgasbord at the fingertips of Atlanta Rain. And they start off taking down mikeyy, having only used that pulse bomb. Cart reaches the end of B. Saints still lacking an answer to the pressure that Rain have put on them.
See that EMP at the ready as well. Rain just absolutely just, I mean,
oh man,
grass meat lawnmower is kind of what we're witnessing here. Rain is still going to have just so many resources available for this next fight. And you look over at the other side, and Saints, of course, they're going to be building up to 5 ultimates in this next fight, right? And we do see Squid back, of course, on the comfort of the Kiriko. They obviously like this for this Winston composition as well. It makes a lot of sense. But even with all those resources, still, Lip could turn this fight. Vigilante could help turn this fight as well with the... There you go.
It's a great reaction, and King just dives too far in, is unable to exit. Not able to translocate out. Rain, again, don't need to engage the fight. They just win it off their own back. They're not going to throw in a Kitsune rush. Saints want this thing to stop here and now. 4 versus 5, though. Look, man, it's a tall order. Atlanta have literally not lost a single player yet on this map, and that trend's only going to continue.
Adore, that's 4 ults for 1 Transcendence, effectively. I mean, at this point,
oh my God,
we see the Pulse Bomb as a tipping point, I guess, but at that stage, I mean, Rain had already won the fight. Stalker is just making sure that they get a little bit more time bank by throwing that one out at the time that he did. And you see the swap now from King as well over to the Genji. I mean, this is not something you see Saints doing, just these kind of really like backs against the wall type swaps.
This could be the perfect push. They could not lose a player. It's not about it if you reach the end of the map. It's whether or not they can do it without seeing green in the left side of the kill feed. And it's only gray, baby. Rain, keep going.
4 minutes on the time bank. I mean, when was the last time you saw this? We see Saints, I mean, they're not even going to be able to get out and touch. 4-minute time bank for Rain. They ran the Saints over.
This is reminiscent of the King's Row push from yesterday out of Rain. I mean, they are setting the any % record for Pro-Am